MagMongoSlade. MagMongoSlade. MagMongoSlade.
Finally, we got something to talk about other than CM Punk. So we're going to talk about Dynamite, which was not good. Not good at all. Not a good idea to have one pay-per-view literally the next weekend after another pay-per-view, both of them being $50. I feel like if you buy this one, you're buying essentially the afterbirth of All In. This is a disaster, bro. It was like the last, 4 minutes of the show, people were asking what the main event of All Out was, without realizing that they were building the main event of All Out the whole night. The main event is Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley. That's the main event of All Out. I mean, if you're willing to shell out $50 for that, you might as well just sign up for a subscription to everything AEW. I mean, they're actually putting more effort into the Grand Slam show, which is their Arthur Ashe show, which will actually have an AEW World Title match on it. But instead of doing something for All Out, which they will feature a Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship match. So you'll get to see MJF, but you'll see him teaming with Adam Cole against some team that is not even worthy of time on Dynamite. They're going to win a match on Rampage. So it's essentially going to be Adam Cole and MJF versus two job guys, whomever those may be. This is ridiculous. There's no need to go into news and notes other than a bunch of people are lying about the CM Punk situation. They're lying. They're lying left. They're lying right. Alvarez is lying. The claim that he got into a fight with Miro was a lie. Or at least it couldn't be proven. It was just so many lies. It's pretty ridiculous. It's just nonsense. Let's get into this show. Sooner I get done, the sooner I can go to sleep. Jon Moxley versus Commander. Jon Moxley defeats Commander. Commander always loses. So what's the big deal? Nothing matters. This is where we found out that Jon Moxley was going to be wrestling the winner of Pentagon Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. Later in the show, Orange Cassidy cut a promo saying that he's not the same Orange Cassidy he has been, that, something has changed. Then Moxley cut a promo later saying that what does the three of them, being Pentagon, Moxley, and Orange Cassidy, all have in common? He said they're not so much for the bark. A lot of people do a lot of barking. He says that the winner of the match at All Out will be the one with the most bite. Which is very strange considering Moxley was known for his promos before he went to AEW and decided he was a work rate death jutsu guy. It was always Titty Master Moxley. He was so funny. He was so great on the promo. He was so great on the stick. Now all of a sudden, I don't like to talk a lot. Like to fight. Gonna go out there, throw hands. Yeah. It's like, okay. Sure. So, Pentagon cut a promo saying that tonight is not personal with Orange Cassidy. It's just business. But it will be personal when he gets into the ring with Moxley, whom he wrestled not too long ago, by the way, which kind of foreshadows that Penta is not winning this match, considering he wrestled Moxley literally 2 or 3 weeks ago and lost. They did a lot. They still got this Jose guy. Penta says. It's like I just heard Penta talk. It's not like you're translating literally this, paragraph length promo in Spanish. He literally just said what he had to say, and then you decided to tack on a bunch of other things that are not translations of things that he said. Okay. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not putting more effort into this than Tony Khan is. All right, so the main event of the evening, the main event of the night, Pentagon Jr. or Penta El Zero Miedo, as they call him now. That's his I'm sorry, Pentagon Jr. is his dead name. I'm sorry. His name, legal name, Penta El Zero Miedo versus Orange Cassidy for the International Championship. This match, Orange Cassidy, what do you expect? Orange Cassidy is bulletproof. He's literally Superman. You can hit him in the head with an anvil, he'll be okay. You could throw him off a 50-foot building, he'll be okay. You could take his body, melt him down into a Cuban link chain, he'll be perfectly fine. You could turn him into a piece of candy, he'll be perfectly just fine. He will still manage to win somehow, because I don't know why in AEW, the skinnier, the more bland you are, the harder it is to beat you. I don't know. It's like being a monk or something. The most bland people are the hardest to beat in the world. In any event, Orange Cassidy wins. I believe the Pentagon hit him with another package power driver, which was the second or third one of the night. As Pentagon is contesting the 2 count, he gets rolled up in a crucifix and pinned. It's a pretty casual finish for Orange Cassidy. So Pentagon loses. Not a big deal. Kind of expected, actually. So then Orange Cassidy actually cut a promo. Said he's tired. He's beat up. His body hurts. And the book bag gets heavier after every match. But he's there. He's there wrestling in AEW because that title means everything to him. The title represents AEW. It represents people who were told they were too skinny, too short. But, a guy like him could become the champion. And he'll be the champion as long as he wants to be. And because he's Orange Cassidy and he does not have a catchphrase. At that point, Moxley comes out, and them two, they smack each other in the face, and Moxley gives him the finger, and we go off the air. Okie dokie. Now, let's start with Orange Cassidy. People were absolutely gassed at this promo. They were like, oh my God, what a great promo. I'm like, bro, I'm so tired of hearing these indie wrestlers. This is for me. All the guys who were told you were too short, you were too ugly, your eyebrows were too bushy, you're never going to make it. It's like, God, not only have we been hearing those promos since like 2011 when CM Punk started doing them, it came from like Danielson and Owens and Zayn and I'm not supposed to be here. Guys like me don't become top stars. Guys like me don't get to... We've been cutting this promo for at least a decade. But I was like, man, that's not good enough. Because I remember hearing guys cut these promos in ECW in like the mid-90s. This is the land of misfit toys. We the land of misfit toys. We're not supposed to make it in. WCW don't want us. WWF don't want us. We don't think we could be stars. You don't think we could be stars? We could be stars too. It's like, bro, why are y'all gassed off this old ass run-of-the-mill basic bitch promo? This was the most basic promo I've ever heard in my life. Because it's Orange Cassidy saying more than 2 words. All of a sudden, it's an amazing promo. I'm like, oh, brother. Thumbs down. Get new content. This sucks. Now, the idea of the international title main event in the show. At this point, I think AEW fans don't really care. They like the brand. They don't really care about what match is going to put on the show. And I think All In was the definitive proof of that. Nobody in AEW is a draw, really. Not one person. The idea is that the company is a draw. That when you see AEW, you come to the show. Similar to what people say about WWE. I think AEW, because wrestling fans have been conditioned over the years to really focus on the brand and not any individual star. And it's smart because when you have somebody like CM Punk who is constantly getting themselves suspended or getting into some kind of trouble or injured. I think somebody said that he spent, quite a bit of time either injured or suspended in AEW. Then you absolutely need to have other people who are capable of stepping up. Unfortunately, in AEW, that person is always Jon Moxley. Whenever CM Punk gets into some trouble, Moxley had to step up and clean it up. It seems that he doesn't really have any interest in having backstage authority or anything like that. He just kind of has a cavalier attitude. Because if I was the guy constantly cleaning up CM Punk's mess, CM Punk wouldn't be able to tell me I couldn't be on Collision. I can tell you that much. He would. I can tell you that much. I'm coming backstage on Collision. if I have to clean up behind you every time you get suspended or injured, and now you're like, this guy is a idiot or whatever. Nah, you should be my best fucking friend if I'm cleaning up behind you all the time. And it seems like that's what Moxley is doing. It's his job to, whenever CM Punk fucks up something, Moxley has to come in and make everything okay. CM Punk screwed whatever their plans were for All Out, no doubt. This is, of course, assuming he's not going to be there. We don't know. Things could change by collision, because just because he's, quote, suspended right now doesn't mean the suspension has to go through All Out. It could very well be, well, he's suspended for 3 days and now we're going to let him back on the roster because we need him. But as it stands right now, Moxley is going to main event the show because Punk can't be there. That's a very weird thing. Orange Cassidy being a main event talent, look, again, it's AEW. It doesn't matter. They're going to get a lot of credit for putting, I guess you consider a tertiary title in the main event of the show, because what would be the secondary title at this point? If MJF is the world champion and CM Punk is running around calling himself a world champion, the TNT title is in the mud because Luchasaurus has it. So I guess Orange Cassidy is a higher level champion than Luchasaurus. I don't know, but I guess you can give them some credit for that. But it's really just kind of Moxley main eventing the show. I don't think anybody would buy it if it was like Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta. But then again, you never know. AEW fans are a very rare breed. A very rare breed indeed. But have fun with that. If you're going to pay money for this, I'm so sorry, but you're the money mark at that point, not Tony Khan. All right, so the Young Bucks was backstage. FTR walks up to them, tries to get their respect again. They're interrupted by Bullet Club Gold, who crashed the party and got into FTR's faces. This led to FTR challenging them to an 8-man tag at All Out. So it'll be FTR and the Young Bucks versus all 4 members of Bullet Club Gold. Bro, I bust out laughing. This is ridiculous. This is a Dynamite match. All right, this match is asinine, bro. It's absolutely stupid to think that the FTR and Young Bucks as a team is interesting. No, it isn't. You could have done the Young Bucks versus Juice Robinson and Jay White. The sort of Bullet Club stuff they could have done. But I don't know what they're doing. I don't care. I guess I just wanted to get FTR on the show somehow and make sure everybody who's remaining gets on the show, but they also don't have to work too hard because they had a tough match at All In. But this is not interesting. I feel bad for people who already bought tickets to the Chicago show. They just better be excited to be there, because if I looked at this card and I see that FTR is going to be teaming with the Young Bucks against fucking Gun Boys, Jay White and Juice Robinson, if it was a Dynamite or a Collision or something, it would be fine. But as a $50 pay-per-view, oh no, I'd be woefully disappointed. I'd be crushed. I'd be pissed. Toni Storm, her hair was a mess, and she was very disappointed. She said she was happy for Saraya, but Saraya went off script. She forgot her role in this story and said that now she stands there with no title, no friends, no nothing. And she can't trust anyone. She can't trust Saraya, who hates her, by the way. She can't trust Ruby, who turned her back on her. She can't trust anybody. And she storms off while talking about all the things that she can't trust. And then she said, I can't trust my bloody shoes. And then she threw her shoes at Renee Paquette again. I'm telling you, Toni Storm she's been a revelation. She's been a true revelation. She's been very good. She's not booked for All Out, though. Not booked. Okay. That's fine. I guess it's to be expected. Saraya wrestled her once per quarter match. So it is what it is. And plus, you don't want to rush it, I guess. You don't want to rush the Saraya Toni Storm thing. You want to let that breathe. All right. Fine, I guess. All right, so Chris Jericho gets in the ring. And then we get a really lengthy segment between him and Sammy Guevara. Jericho regretted how he treated Sammy Guevara after his match with Will Ospreay, who he kind of shoved him and ignored him after Sammy tried to help him and didn't. It wasn't enough. So Jericho apologized, then says that he was thinking about how he could have won the match, pulled the tights, done something else. And then he said if Sammy would have just hit him with the baseball bat a little bit harder. So then Sammy got offended, actually turned it on Chris, and he left his pregnant wife to help Chris Jericho. Then Jericho turned it on Sammy by saying, hey, you weren't booked for this show. Because of me, you were acting in front of the crowd. And then Sammy turned it on him by saying, well, if I hadn't been listening to you, I might have been able to wrestle on that show. And then so they go back and forth where they take pot shots at each other about Sammy losing world title matches and Jericho losing the world title belt. And they end up getting face to face. And then Jericho decides to blow off the steam by saying that they need to go back to the roots of their friendship. They need to go back to being less sex gods and back to chasing the tag team championship. So at that point, he hugged Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara hugged him. And they said the road to their tag team championship win begins next week. And people was booing this because they were kind of into the idea of Jericho and Sammy breaking up. And then they twisted it on them, making them a tag team again. It's them teasing turning Jericho back heel. Look, this confusion about whether he's a babyface or a heel, I don't know. Because it was in a situation where he was supposed to be the babyface in comparison to Don Callis. But at the same time, he was willing to go along with Don Callis. It wasn't until Don Callis was going to have him decapitated, to send him to the gulag, that he realized that Don Callis was worse than he is. And then at Wembley, he was wrestling a hometown guy. And so he got booed and had to work. Essentially, he didn't have to work heel, but he wasn't the babyface. And then in this situation, he basically slightly turns heel on Sammy Guevara. And I'm just kind of like, they're just really trying to play this tweener role with Jericho. You might get away with it due to Jericho being around for so long. And, people just generally like Chris Jericho. They're just watching him go through the motions. Luckily, thankfully, it's not somebody that you're trying to get over. But like Sammy Guevara, it's Jericho waffling in the wind, constantly, going back and forth. Because he's Jericho, he can do that. But Sammy Guevara being sort of the stout babyface, who is being berated and criticized by Chris Jericho, he had a good point. He left his family to come help Chris Jericho. And Jericho didn't appreciate it, which goes back to the Jericho Appreciation Society thing. So I did like that element of it. I don't know if I like the idea of them being a tag team, but then again, what choice do we really have? Jericho has done some of everything on this roster. The only thing he hasn't done is won a tag team title. And considering he still has one disciple left to team with, and you could push off that Jericho Guevara storyline for as long as you can. Have Jericho and Sammy Guevara chase the tag team titles. Unfortunately, they're not going to wrestle at All Out. Jericho doesn't seem to be booked for All Out. So if you're in Chicago, no Punk, no Jericho. You get MJF and Adam Cole in a tag team match. You get Kenny Omega in a singles match, so at least, and you get John Moxley in a singles match, so that's fine. But you're looking at this thing, and it's not the strongest card in the world. FTR versus the less sex gods could be fine. It'll be fine, I guess. Jericho working with FTR ought to create something interesting at the very least. Okie dokie. Eddie Kingston defeats Wheeler Yuta in a match I did not want to watch. I did not care about this, mainly because Wheeler Yuta was involved in it. I don't see myself ever caring about a Wheeler Yuta match. New Japan does a great job of pushing AEW's talent. I forgot Eddie Kingston had a New Japan title because I literally forgot this belt exists. This is one of their 42 mid-card belts that they have in New Japan. Just like when Willow was one of their 42 mid-card champions in New Japan. They seem to get these big pushes in in Japan, and then in AEW, we just utilize the belt to make it seem like these people are a big deal. Eddie Kingston is at least beloved by this audience. So Eddie Kingston defeats Wheeler Yuta. It was stupid. Claudio comes out of the crowd. I don't know why he came out of the crowd. And he walked like a robot past the ring without looking at Eddie Kingston at all, but deliberately not looking at him, and to collect Wheeler Yuta. And they were telling the story that he was ignoring Eddie Kingston and disrespecting him, and respect is what Eddie Kingston is about. So they're teasing a story, the continuance of the story between Kingston and Claudio. Fine. Okay, sure. Okay. I guess if we have to do something with Claudio, I guess this works. Eddie Kingston can talk at the very least. So it was a backstage segment with MJF where he laid out that there's going to be a tournament to decide who he wrestles at Grand Slam, and that there's going to be a battle royal on Rampage to decide who they wrestle at All Out. But he's exhausted. Adam Cole is his broski, his brochacho, but he's talked him into working far more than he wants. Adam Cole says, you know what? If anybody deserves a week off, it's you. So MJF was given the week off by Adam Cole. And Adam Cole came out to talk anyway. And he got cut off immediately by Roderick Strong. So Roderick Strong was jealous that Adam Cole cares more about MJF's neck than he cares about Roderick Strong's neck. Then Mike Bennett interrupted and talked about their history as members of the Kingdom and how they worked together. They got themselves jobs, and Adam Cole was at his wedding and all this kind of stuff. Then Matt Taven cut in, actually made a good point, saying that Adam Cole has used others to get to the top. He used the Kingdom in Ring of Honor. He used Undisputed Era in NXT. He didn't say NXT. He just said in Florida. And he says, when you see those pictures of you with all these titles, do you just ignore the other people around you? Or do you just pretend that those people didn't have anything to do with it? So that was actually a very good point. I liked that point. I gotta shave my tongue. I just gave Matt Taven a compliment. But I mean, it makes sense, The story makes sense. Anyway, Adam Cole says, if you guys felt used, I really didn't mean that, and I apologize. I'm like, oh, God, was easy. Then he said that, he learned over the years how to be understanding, and he understands MJF, and they need to understand that MJF is his best friend. So Roderick Strong was like, nope, he's not your best friend. I'm your best friend, and I'm going to win the AEW world title, and if we're friends, you should wish me luck. And then Adam Cole was like, look, man, your neck is in no condition. And then Roderick Strong was like, aha, now you care about my neck. But, I'm a wrestling legend, and I'm going to win that tournament. Because I'm just like, they would do that. AEW would have Roderick Strong win a tournament to face MJF at another one of their biggest shows of the year, which is the Grand Slam show. Now, as a promo segment, I would have liked for them to reverse it, where the Kingdom come out and they call out Adam Cole rather than them come out and interrupt him. That's just a minor difference I would have done, because I don't know what Adam Cole is going to come out there and talk about. He's going to come out there and talk about losing it all in. We don't need to hear that. This seemed like it was a perfect setup for them to interfere and interrupt so they can have a real conversation. It probably would have been more realistic if the Kingdom was already out there and then they said they called out Adam Cole because they're going to confront him about, all these accusations that they have against him. Slight change, but I would have done that. Again, they did exactly what I expected them to do, was they interjected the heels more, which is the right thing to do. Now, everybody who doesn't know about the Kingdom knows about the Kingdom. They know that they have history with Adam Cole. They know how far back that history goes. Adam Cole apologize to them for feeling like, if they felt like they were used, which probably wasn't the right thing to do. But Adam Cole is just some kind of newfangled male. He should have just said, man, we all work together. You guys reached a certain level. I reached a certain level. We a rising tide lift all boats. When I was champion in Florida, everybody was a champion in Florida. It wasn't just me. Everybody, we all raised each other up. I did just as much for you guys as you guys did for me, which probably would have been an even better response to their accusations rather than just buckling and saying, I apologize. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to use you guys like that. It's like, well, fuck no. You guys got something out of it too. We all helped each other. I just got a little bit further than, everybody else, but it could have been you guys too, But, so I like the segment overall. I can't believe I just said that. But I like the segment overall because I like that they're finally moving the heels in. I thought they were going to have them attack Adam Cole because MJF wouldn't be there. But I think it was smart for them to not do it. And also now that I'm guessing apparently the Kingdom are going to be in that Battle Royal, they might win it. And so therefore you will have Mike Bennett and Taven versus MJF and Adam Cole at All Out. And then maybe Roderick Strong versus MJF at Grand Slam. I'm not sure you should do Roderick Strong versus MJF though. I'm just not sure you should do that but they care about work rate matches, and the story is there at the very least, but I don't think Roderick Strong he's a strong, what am I talking about? It doesn't matter. It don't matter. I'm thinking of it like, is he a draw? Is he going to, sell extra tickets? But, he's not a threat to win the title. That's probably the best option I think you could have. It's not just the fact that he's not a draw. It's that nobody believes that Roderick Strong is literally going to win the AEW World title. Nobody believes that. So that's going to affect ticket sales, I believe. And I heard that they're pretty sluggish. But, I don't know. The magic of the 81,000 people or whatever. Okay. They also went about announcing Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor for All Out. Bro, I laughed again. Shane Taylor has not been on this show even to do jobs. Like, when was the last time Shane Taylor was on a Dynamite or a Collision or anything? But he gets a pay-per-view match? And Ricky Starks doesn't? As of this recording, Ricky Starks has not been booked. Claudio has not been booked. But Shane Taylor gets to wrestle Samoa Joe for the TV title? Come on. Look, Shane Taylor is fine. As a pro wrestler, Shane Taylor is fine. He's built like a sack of mashed potatoes, but he's fine. He badly built like a baby mama. Somebody like a girl you met at the gas station. But he's perfectly acceptable as a pro wrestler. I watched him in Ring of Honor right before the shutdown. I, was deep hoping that he would get an opportunity in Tony Khan's version of Ring of Honor. I was hoping he might get a shot in AEW. He's a big dude. He's not in shape at all, but he's a big guy. So I was willing to give him a chance. So is this like, Mongo, you wanted to give him a chance? They're trying to give him it's like, no, they're not giving him a chance. He's a spare tire. His spot on this card is because some people got sick and some people had traveling issues. That's it. That's why he's on this show. I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, nobody knows who this fucking guy is. You did zero to get him over. You did zero for people to care about him. That's terrible. That's a truly awful shit. I'm of two minds on Shane Taylor. I think he's good enough to deserve an opportunity. I think that if they played into his history with Keith Lee, he could be fine. If him and Keith Lee were a tag team like they were in the past, we might be good. Two big dudes who are out of shape, but maybe together they could really do some damage in the tag team division. That could be great. But having Shane Taylor booked as a single star in a match with Samoa Joe the likelihood that he's going to win that match is 0.002, you know, with a rounding error of 002. He's not going to win. Why is he booked on this show? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Speaking of why are they booked on this show, why the fuck is Nyla Rose on here? Why the fuck is Emi Sakura on here? Why the fuck is Marina Shafir? You don't know me. You don't know me. Why is she on here? Where's Andrade? I mean, really? Now is the time to break out the Commanders and the El Hijo del Vikingos and all the. Now is the time to break those guys out. You know, like now is the time to go and get them guys. Because when you start scraping, you're really scraping the bottom of your roster when Emi Sakura is on the show. I forgot she even existed. And she wrestled Chris Statlander, Hikaru Shida, and Britt Baker. What a mess. I didn't watch 1 second of this. I barely got through the entrances before I literally had to go see something else. I would rather go watch candles burn. I would rather go watch ice cream freeze than watch this horse shit. This is probably got to be one of the worst matches they've ever put on Dynamite. This is the shits. Didn't watch 1 second of it. I did see Ruby attack Chris Statlander at the end and steal the title. I'm like, they're doing another stealing the belt story, but then she dropped the belt or something. I thought she was going to step on it, kick it or something. But they basically just continuing the whole Ruby is chasing Chris Statlander for the TBS title. Poor Chris Statlander. Everybody loved her. Has anybody gotten less out of ending a undefeated streak than Chris Statlander? She got the belt. Then she's immediately shoved in the mid card. And then sometimes weeks go by before she's even mentioned. You know, she might get a spot on Collision. Then she might not. And then if she gets a spot, it gets people that, you know, nobody cares that much about. Like Mercedes Martinez or Diamante or somebody like that. But not anything she could really sink her teeth into. Like Ruby Soho is a pretty solid mid-card opponent. But they haven't really done anything against each other. And this is the first contact. I mean, Ruby called her out, I think, 2 weeks ago. And this is like the first contact between the two of them. But it's fine. You know, this match being on All Out is actually not bad. Because they actually teased it before All In. So this was like one of the few matches going into All Out that has any sort of build to it. Don Callis was on this show twice. He talked to Sammy Guevara earlier, where he pretended that he just now found out about Sammy Guevara's wife have to have a baby. But Guevara cut into him, said that he doesn't want to talk about his friends or his family with Don Callis. He was very aggressive, which tells me that he doesn't like Don Callis very much, which is okay. Like, what would Don Callis do to you outside of like piss off Chris Jericho? But then Don Callis gives us a rundown of how Takeshita beat Kenny Omega the first time and how he will beat Kenny Omega the next time, which included, I should say, clips of Omega's injuries, like his injured back, his injured neck or whatever, and how Takeshita took advantage of that in the 6-man tag in order to beat him. And then he said if all else fails, he's got the screwdriver. And then Takeshita kind of did the screwdriver stab motion before saying something in Japanese to the camera. Takeshita versus Omega is probably the most well-built match for All Out so far. In terms of the build for this began back in fucking May. So this thing has some legs to it, you know. One of the other matches on the show that's pretty well built from a storyline perspective, and one of the few matches that I expect to actually be high level on the show. I expect this to be of an extremely high level. Takeshita is an incredible athlete, incredibly athletic kid, doing a good job. Don Callis is excellent in his heel role. Omega as the sort of underneath babyface here is going to be outnumbered, outgunned. They're trying to say he's injured. They're trying to say he's washed. You know, he's got to come back and prove himself. I look forward to this. And they did this stuff without Kenny Omega and his terrible promos actually trying to help them get over. It's just been pure Don Callis doing the work. He's been doing the heavy lifting, and he did a good job. So this part I thought was fine. All right, so the Acclaimed come out there and they said a bunch of nothing, just a bunch of nothing. But they had they want to cut a ribbon with a giant pair of scissors. Then they started talking about how the trios titles are dull. They look dull because they were hot pink. So the trios titles looked dull. So they threw the black trios titles down and retrieved the pink belts. And then we found out that the pink belts, they scissor. So you can link the belts together in the back like scissoring. I'm of a mixed bag on this. I don't think the pink belts look bad. I think the belts look good, actually. The belts look fine. The scissoring just feels like heavy WWE style merchandising, which if they're smart, they're selling scissoring championships, or they're at least going to have that available at some point soon, because there's going to be wrestling fans who are going to be like, I want a scissoring trios title. That sounds fun. So if they actually have any sort of brain for marketing, these things will already be created, and they will already be up on like AEWshop.com, or you can at least pre-order them, because it seemed like a pretty good gimmick, for your trios title. So I don't know. I'm too lazy to look for myself. I'm not even gonna hold you up. I'm not about to take a look because I don't care that much. But there was something about they're about to open up the House of Ass, and I was like, you know what? I'm not interested in the House of Ass. Just not. I don't want to go there. It doesn't seem like a place. Doesn't seem like it's my kind of joint. So this Dynamite was incredibly weak. It was not good. It was not good. You could tell that this show was completely slapdash. Now, the all-out card, from the looks of things, it actually doesn't have too much terrible shit on it. But you can look at it and tell that there's not a lot of love and care was put into this card. So for those of you who are maybe say, what's on the card? Well, MJF and Adam Cole, otherwise known as Better Than You, baby, they're going to be wrestling an ROH Tag Team Battle Royal winner. Shane Taylor will be wrestling Samoa Joe. I can pretty much guess that unless you're at a Shane Taylor family reunion, nobody knows who the fuck that dude is. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Miro, which is the one match I want to see. I'm down for that. I'm in just based off that. Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita. That ought to be pretty good too. And that actually has some storyline attached to it. Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. Ought to be interesting. There's a storyline attached to it. FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Bullet Club Gold. Get the fuck out of here. Now, I know that there's some history between FTR and Bullet Club Gold, but for their partners to be the Young Bucks is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin for the TNT title. There's a substantial history here. So if you're a fan of Luchasaurus, you might get something out of this. I don't see that being the case. I'm not a fan of Snitchosaurus. I don't like the guy. So it's a big match for Darby. I expect Darby to probably win the title. The belt needs it. The belt needs it to get off of Luchasaurus. As great as Christian is, the belt probably needs Darby at this point. And Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley for the AEW International Championship is the main event of the show. I'm not sure if these two guys have ever wrestled before in AEW, but they literally put this together within the last couple of weeks. There's not a lot of build or history to it. So there's no CM Punk, no AEW World Title, no Chris Jericho, no Sammy Guevara, no Ricky Starks, I mean, it's a bad do. It's a really bad do. And no women's championship match, no Saraya. I mean, they got the TBS title, but Saraya's not defending her title. Some people are even trying to grasp at straws saying, well, at least let Athena defend her title. It's like, bro, this is 8 matches on this card already. There's already 8 matches on this card. How long do you want this show to be? Like AEW absolutely did the best they could in these 2 weeks. So this is fine, you know. Editing, the magic of editing. I just saw a placard for Collision that says that Ricky Starks will challenge Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to a strap match on Collision. And this match will apparently be added to All Out. Ricky Steamboat's got to be 70, you know. Let's say this match happens, which we won't know until Collision or whatever. I guess they're taping it. I don't know. But if this happens, it still doesn't make the card stronger, but at least you get to see Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That's very cool. And Ricky Starks gets a match on the card, so that's very cool. So if this match was to occur, there's some heat behind it because Ricky Starks whipped Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Steamboat is a legend. We want to see what he can do. And Ricky Starks gets to wrestle a legend. That's fucking cool. You know? So that could really bolster the card. It really could. I still wouldn't pay $50 for it, especially if I paid for All In. I certainly wouldn't pay for All Out. But they did it. It's a better job if you can get Ricky Steamboat on the card. But I don't know, man. The guy's 70. I don't know, man. It's an interesting gimmick, but what more do we do? You know, he's probably gonna do one crossbody and that'll be it. But then again, I don't know. How much money is Tony shelling out for this thing, by the way? How much money do you think that he pitched to Ricky Steamboat to get him to wrestle a match in Chicago and All Out? What do you think he said? You know, 500,000, 600, 700, a million? And I'm pretty sure, did he just, you know, sign a check and then slid it over to Ricky Steamboat and said, hey, man, enjoy your retirement, but come in here and do this 5 minutes real quick. Because I don't think this match is going to be longer than 5 minutes. Look, I love me some Ricky Steamboat. So I know this is a bad idea. I can smell a bad idea in the air. But go ahead and do it. I'm down for the freak show element of it. Let's do it. You know, let's do that. And so we get to end this video on a positive note. Ricky Starks is going to wrestle Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at All Out. That could be great. You know, that could be great if that's what they do. If they don't do that, if they swerve us and it's not really Ricky Steamboat, but instead it's the Golden Vampire or something stupid like that. Oh, God. But right now, I'm on a good mood. Ricky Steamboat's going to wrestle it All Out. Oh, that's going to be hilarious. I can't wait. Can't wait for all these dorks who say they don't take advice to completely ignore Ricky Steamboat backstage. Oh, that's going to be excellent. Oh, can you imagine somebody's going to get in a fight backstage with Ricky Steamboat's there? How embarrassing. How embarrassing. Maybe they can get Richie to wrestle again. You think they could get Richie Steamboat to wrestle again? Moxley calls him on the phone. Hey, Rich, got an idea for you. Yeah. You know, like, that could be fun. I know Richie says wrestling ain't for him, but he seems to have a proclivity towards it. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to make this thing sound better in my head than it really is on paper. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.